One of the biggest mistakes people make when they're disrespected is that they feel the urge to react immediately. They feel like they have to say something back, to defend themselves, to prove a point, to fight fire with fire. But let me tell you something powerful, something that might feel unnatural at first. Silence is your loudest response. Let that sink in. When you don't react the way they expect you to, you take back control. You shift the power dynamic. Because silence isn't empty, it's full of intention. It says, I don't have time to waste on low energy. I've got something bigger I'm focused on. See, people will test you. They'll poke, they'll push, and they'll disrespect you to try to get a reaction. Why? Because if they can pull you out of character, they win. That's what they want. But the moment you realize that your peace is more powerful than your pride, everything changes. You stop giving people access to your emotions just because they feel entitled to them. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone who already made up their mind about you. You don't owe them a response. You owe yourself peace. It's not weakness to stay quiet, it's strategy, it's strength. When someone disrespects you and you choose not to respond with anger, with words, with chaos, you're telling them, I've outgrown this level. And trust me, nothing shakes a person more than when they realize they no longer have control over your energy. That's when they start questioning themselves. They wonder why you're not engaging, why you're not giving them the reaction they thought they earned. That silence, it makes noise, loud noise. It speaks in ways shouting never could. But this doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or pretend like it didn't affect you. You process it, but in private. You let yourself feel, but you don't let that feeling guide your next move. You use that emotion as fuel, not to lash out, but to level up. Every time someone underestimates you, every time they try to bring you down, that's your cue to go harder. Not for them, but for you. Let their disrespect light a fire in you that pushes you to grow, to rise, to evolve. You know what's more powerful than proving someone wrong in the moment? Becoming so focused, so successful, so elevated that their opinion becomes irrelevant. That's the long game. And silence plays a big role in that game. It keeps your emotions in check. It gives you space to think, to plan, to work. You're not here to perform for people who don't even respect you. You're here to build something real. And real growth happens in stillness, not in noise. Next time someone throws shade, disrespects you, or tries to belittle your worth, pause, breathe, smile if you have to, then walk away with your head held high. You didn't lose anything. In fact, you just won. Because while they're stuck trying to get attention, you're already on your way to becoming the version of yourself they could never touch. And when the time comes, when they see what you've built, how you've grown, how you've flourished without ever stooping to their level, they'll realize the silence was never empty. It was full of something they couldn't understand: power, discipline, and purpose. People will try to make you question your worth every single day. Some will do it with words, some with silence, some with actions that speak volumes. But here's what you need to understand. Your self-worth is not up for negotiation. It's not a debate. It's not something someone else gets to decide based on how they feel about you. It's something you build, protect, and stand on no matter what's happening around you. Too often, we let the outside world tell us who we are. One comment, one rejection, one disrespectful moment, and suddenly we start doubting ourselves. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I deserved that. Maybe I'm not smart enough, attractive enough, valuable enough. That mindset, it's poison, and it spreads fast. Because once you start looking for your value in other people's opinions, you'll always be chasing approval that was never meant to define you in the first place. You weren't born to seek validation. You were born with value. You came into this world with a purpose that doesn't require permission. So when someone disrespects you, when they look at you like you're less than, when they speak to you like you don't matter, understand that it says everything about them and nothing about you. Their inability to recognize your worth doesn't decrease it. It exposes their own insecurity, their own fear, their own need to feel powerful by putting someone else down. That's why your response matters, not the reaction, the response. Because when you know your worth, you don't need to clap back. You don't need to prove yourself in arguments. You don't need to lower yourself to meet people at their level. You move differently. You walk with a calm confidence. You don't ask for respect. You command it by the way you carry yourself, by the way you speak, by the way you don't entertain anything that threatens your peace. The truth is, self-worth isn't just about how you feel. It's about how you act. It's in the boundaries you set. It's in the standards you uphold. It's in how quickly you walk away from disrespect without needing to explain why. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. And if you tolerate being disrespected, you're silently telling them that you don't value yourself enough to walk away. But when you make it clear that you won't accept anything less than what you deserve, you don't just protect your peace, you elevate your life. And look, this isn't easy. It takes unlearning years of conditioning. It takes looking in the mirror and being honest with yourself. It takes rewiring how you see yourself and what you believe you're worthy of. But once you commit to it, once you start honoring your own value, you'll attract better people, better energy, better opportunities. Because the world mirrors how you treat yourself. Speak highly of yourself. Invest in yourself. Respect yourself, even when no one else does, especially when no one else does. People may not always see your value right away, and that's okay. Not everyone is meant to. What matters is that you see it, that you remind yourself every day that you are enough. Not because of what you do, not because of what you have, but because of who you are. That kind of confidence, the quiet kind, the kind that isn't loud but unshakable, that's what makes you untouchable. So when disrespect shows up, don't shrink. Don't question your place. Don't explain yourself. Just stand tall in the truth that you are worthy with or without their approval. That's the kind of energy that speaks for itself. Disrespect hurts. Let's not pretend it doesn't. When someone talks down to you, overlooks you, tries to break your spirit, it stings. And it's easy to let that pain become anger, bitterness, or even shame. But what if I told you that pain could become your greatest power? That instead of letting it break you, you could let it build something unshakable inside you. Because here's the truth. Every time someone disrespects you, they're handing you fuel. What you do with that fuel is up to you. Most people waste that fuel by reacting emotionally. They argue, they lash out, they beg for validation. But all that energy, it's going in the wrong direction. It's being thrown away on people who don't even deserve to be part of your story. What if instead you took all that pain, the frustration, the embarrassment, the rage, and poured it into yourself, into your goals, your growth, your healing, your evolution? That's how you win, not by fighting back, but by moving forward. You see, pain is a powerful teacher. It shows you what needs to change. It reveals what you've been tolerating, what you've allowed, what you've ignored in yourself. It forces you to confront the parts of you that need strengthening. And if you pay attention, if you stop numbing it and start learning from it, that pain will push you into becoming the version of yourself you were always meant to be. Think about it. Some of the most successful, grounded, unstoppable people you know didn't get that way because life was easy. They got that way because they turned their wounds into wisdom. They stopped asking, why me, and started saying, watch me. They used rejection as redirection. They used disrespect as motivation, and they used pain as power. That disrespect you experienced, that betrayal, that dismissal, that humiliation, you don't have to forget it, but you don't have to carry it either. What you can do is let it shape your mindset, your discipline, your hunger. Let it remind you that no matter how someone treats you, you control how you respond. And the best response is always growth, always forward, always becoming stronger, wiser, calmer. Pain changes people, but it's your choice what kind of person it turns you into. You can let it make you hard, bitter, cold, or you can let it make you focused, resilient, and unshakable. The difference is in what you feed. If you keep replaying the disrespect, you stay stuck in it. But if you take that same energy and put it into becoming more disciplined, more confident, more grounded, then you take the power back. Every great transformation comes from discomfort. No one rises without struggle. So when you feel that sting of being disrespected, don't let it break your spirit. Let it break your limits. Let it force you to level up. Let it open your eyes to who you really are and what you're truly capable of when you stop wasting time on those who don't deserve your attention. You don't need revenge. You don't need to be understood. What you need is to use everything they said you couldn't be as fuel to become exactly that. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. Until one day they look up and realize they didn't break you. They built you. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is usually emotional. You want to defend yourself, to prove something, to remind them who you are. But the truth is, the more attached you are to their opinions, their words, their energy, the more control you give them over your mind. That's why one of the most powerful things you can ever learn is the art of detachment. Not in a cold, heartless way, but in a strong, wise, elevated way. Because when you learn to detach, you stop allowing other people to dictate your peace. It's not about pretending like things don't affect you. You're human, you'll feel it, you'll get hurt, disappointed, maybe even angry, but there's a difference between feeling it and living in it. Detachment means recognizing the emotion, acknowledging it, and then letting it pass without allowing it to control your next step. It's the ability to say, I see what's happening, I understand how I feel, but I will not let this situation pull me out of alignment. People are going to judge you, misunderstand you, criticize you, and try to disrespect you. That's life. But not everything deserves your reaction. When you're attached to their validation, their acceptance, their behavior, you're putting your peace on the line every single time. You're handing over your power to people who may not even respect themselves, let alone you. And that's where you lose. Because true strength comes when you can stay focused, calm, and steady, regardless of what chaos is thrown your way. Detachment teaches you that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every comment needs a response. Not every insult needs an explanation. Some things you just let pass. You observe, not absorb. You listen, but you don't let it stick. You know who you are, and that's enough. You don't need to prove your worth through arguments. You don't need to chase closure from people who were never, honest. You don't need to fix what someone else broke in themselves. You stay in your lane. You focus on your growth. You commit to your peace. And when something threatens that peace, you step back, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. That's what detachment gives you, freedom. You're no longer tied to outcomes, to people's opinions, to temporary moments. You're grounded in yourself. And that foundation, it's unshakable. You start to see disrespect for what it really is, a reflection of where someone else is in their journey, not where you are in yours. You realize that you don't have to take it personally because it was never truly about you. That's when you stop internalizing other people's behavior. You stop letting it affect your identity. You stop letting it define how you feel about yourself. The most peaceful people aren't the ones who never face disrespect. They're the ones who know how to rise above it. They don't carry grudges, they carry lessons. They don't react, they reflect. And they don't stay stuck in what went wrong. They move forward with clarity, power, and purpose. So when they try to get a rise out of you, stay still. When they try to bring you down to their level, keep rising. When they expect a reaction, give them silence. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown. You've learned, you've detached. And that's something they'll never be able to touch. When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is usually emotional. You want to defend yourself, to prove something, to remind them who you are. But the truth is, the more attached you are to their opinions, their words, their energy, the more control you give them over your mind. That's why one of the most powerful things you can ever learn is the art of detachment. Not in a cold, heartless way, but in a strong, wise, elevated way. Because when you learn to detach, you stop allowing other people to dictate your peace. It's not about pretending like things don't affect you. You're human, you'll feel it, you'll get hurt, disappointed, maybe even angry, but there's a difference between feeling it and living in it. Detachment means recognizing the emotion, acknowledging it, and then letting it pass without allowing it to control your next step. It's the ability to say, I see what's happening, I understand how I feel, but I will not let this situation pull me out of alignment. People are going to judge you, misunderstand you, criticize you, and try to disrespect you. That's life. But not everything deserves your reaction. When you're attached to their validation, their acceptance, their behavior, you're putting your peace on the line every single time. You're handing over your power to people who may not even respect themselves, let alone you. And that's where you lose. Because true strength comes when you can stay focused, calm, and steady, regardless of what chaos is thrown your way. Detachment teaches you that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every comment needs a response. Not every insult needs an explanation. Some things you just let pass. You observe, not absorb. You listen, but you don't let it stick. You know who you are, and that's enough. You don't need to prove your worth through arguments. You don't need to chase closure from people who were never, honest. You don't need to fix what someone else broke in themselves. You stay in your lane. You focus on your growth. You commit to your peace. And when something threatens that peace, you step back, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. That's what detachment gives you, freedom. You're no longer tied to outcomes, to people's opinions, to temporary moments. You're grounded in yourself. And that foundation, it's unshakable. You start to see disrespect for what it really is, a reflection of where someone else is in their journey, not where you are in yours. You realize that you don't have to take it personally because it was never truly about you. That's when you stop internalizing other people's behavior. You stop letting it affect your identity. You stop letting it define how you feel about yourself. The most peaceful people aren't the ones who never face disrespect. They're the ones who know how to rise above it. They don't carry grudges, they carry lessons. They don't react, they reflect. And they don't stay stuck in what went wrong. They move forward with clarity, power, and purpose. So when they try to get a rise out of you, stay still. When they try to bring you down to their level, keep rising. When they expect a reaction, give them silence. Not because you're weak, but because you've grown. You've learned, you've detached. And that's something they'll never be able to touch. Revenge is a loud emotion. It screams at you when someone disrespects you. It tells you to clap back, to put them in their place, to show them they messed with the wrong person. And for a moment, it feels good to imagine that, to picture yourself getting even. But let me ask you something real. What do you actually gain from that? A moment of satisfaction? A few words that might feel powerful but change absolutely nothing? That's not winning. That's playing their game. The real revenge, the kind that hits different, the kind that lasts, is success. Quiet, undeniable, unstoppable success. You see, when people disrespect you, they're betting on your downfall. They're hoping to see you slip, hoping you'll let the pain break you, hoping you'll lose focus. And when you respond with anger, with drama, with anything that pulls you off your path, you're giving them exactly what they wanted: But when you stay locked in, when you keep growing, when you focus so hard on your own lane that you don't even flinch at their negativity, that's when you win. That's when they realize they never had the power to shake you. There's nothing more uncomfortable for someone who tried to bring you down than watching you rise anyway, watching you shine, succeed, evolve without ever addressing them. That's what real power looks like. Not noise, not conflict, elevation. When your results speak louder than your words ever could, you create a silence that screams the truth. They never mattered. Their opinion, their disrespect, their attempt to break you, it was powerless against your purpose. People will try to distract you from your goals. They'll test your character. They'll throw shade. But you have to decide what matters more, reacting to their noise or building something they can't touch. Every second you spend trying to get even is a second you could have spent leveling up. You don't owe them a response. C. You owe yourself progress. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself the life you've been dreaming about while they've been busy doubting you. The best revenge is not proving them wrong, it's proving yourself right. It's waking up every day with discipline, grinding when no one's watching, working when they've already counted you out. It's choosing to invest in your mind, your health, your craft. It's becoming so locked in on your mission that you don't have time to entertain negativity. You're too busy becoming everything they said you couldn't be. And don't get it twisted, this isn't about ego. It's not about rubbing your success in anyone's face. It's about choosing your future over your feelings. It's about understanding that your energy is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them think they won. While they're stuck trying to make noise, you're creating results that can't be ignored. And when your time comes, and it will, they won't be able to look away. Success doesn't require announcements. It doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. And when it is, it speaks for itself. So next time someone disrespects you, don't waste time plotting revenge. Use that moment as a reminder to double down on your purpose, to stay focused, to level up in silence, and let your results make all the noise. Not everything you're working on needs to be seen. Not every step of your growth needs to be shared. In fact, some of the most powerful transformations happen in silence, when no one's watching, when nobody claps for you, and when the room is quiet. That's the season most people overlook. The rebuilding season, the time when you cut the noise, put your head down, and focus on yourself with relentless discipline. That's the part that creates real results. Not the flash, not the updates, not the applause. The grind you do behind closed doors is what sets you up to shock everyone when the curtain finally rises. After being disrespected, humiliated, doubted, or dismissed, your natural instinct might be to show them now, to post more, to speak louder, to prove something right away. But that instant reaction steals from your long-term elevation. You don't need to prove anything right now. You need to build. You need to train. You need to get so locked into your purpose that by the time they even think to look again, you're already unrecognizable. That's the real flex, becoming everything they thought you couldn't be, not by talking about it, but by being it. Private work brings public reward. That's how this game works. It's not about showing off. It's about showing up for yourself every day when no one is clapping, when no one believes, when it's just you and your vision. That's when you're building character. That's when you're sharpening your mindset. That's when you're preparing to become someone they'll never be able to ignore again. But here's the key. You don't owe them the journey. You don't owe them updates. You don't owe them explanations. Let your absence be loud. Let your silence grow heavy. Let your transformation speak in a language only results can explain. The people who disrespected you, they're not thinking about you every day. So why would you waste your energy thinking about them? Let them underestimate you. Let them assume they know where you are, what you're doing, how far you'll go. Use that ignorance as leverage. Let it fuel your hunger in the shadows. Let it drive you to work harder, to focus sharper, to rise smarter. And when it's time, when you're truly ready, you won't have to announce your return. Your glow will walk in before you say a word. There's a certain power in not being seen until you're unstoppable. When they counted you out, they did you a favor. They took the pressure off. They stopped watching. That gave you space to breathe, to evolve, to come back stronger than ever without the noise of opinions. They thought they ended you, but all they did was free you. And now you get to build something with zero expectations, zero limits, and zero distractions. So be patient with the process. Don't rush the moment. You're not just rebuilding a reputation. You're rebuilding your identity. You're becoming the version of yourself that can't be disrespected. Not because of ego, but because of undeniable growth. You don't need to warn anyone. You don't need to threaten anyone. Just work. Just focus. Just become. And when they see you again, when they hear your name, when they realize how far you've come without needing any of them, they'll understand that silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy.